What's up, NFL fans? I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook, and don't forget to check out and purchase your copy of our latest football game plan book, Stiff Arming Football Myths. We have these available in both PDF and paperback form.
Gotta get away, gotta get away, gotta get away. Can't get no rest. Work all day. When will I learn?
Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you our 2015 NFL Draft Special. We're going inside the war room for the San Francisco 49ers. We're going to take a look at their team needs to see what players could be possible selections to help fill those needs. But first, we're going to take a look at the upcoming picks the 49ers have in this year's draft.
First, let's take a look at the mock draft rules. Number one, these picks are based off what I would do as the GM of the football team and what I believe the team needs are. And second, these rankings are my own personal rankings, which you can find on our website at footballgameplan.com/NFL draft. And this is not indicative of where I think these guys will actually go in April's draft. First, let's take a look at some of the team needs for the San Francisco 49ers. You look at inside linebacker with the retiring of both Chris Borland and also Patrick Willis. Trench warfare is another key one, in my opinion, both on the offensive line and defensive line. And wide receiver, I think they still have to find another guy to add to that core. In the first round, I went Eric Kendricks out of UCLA at 6 feet 235, my number one rated inside linebacker prospect, and he plays well on both ends of defense, and I think he would fit perfectly right next to Navarro Bowman. I'm a huge fan of Darius Davis out of Henderson State, a guy that has Sterling Sharp-like ability and what he can do after the catch. He's explosive, he's dynamic, and I think he's going to be one of those sleeper prospects you could find later on in the draft. But for the purpose of this mock draft, I went number 2 with him because he's one of my top-rated receiving prospects. Marcus Hardison out of Arizona State has tremendous athleticism for a guy his size. He can play inside or as a 5 technique, providing depth up front for San Francisco. Doubling down on the inside linebacker position, I look at Ben Heeney out of Kansas at 6 feet 231. He's a heat-seeking missile to the football, and I like what he brings to the table from a coverage standpoint, so I think he'd be an ideal fit as a sub-backer. Looking to build depth along the offensive line, I went with DJ Humphries out of Florida, a junior prospect entering the draft early. I still think he has some smooth edges to his game, but again, he has that upside that you look for at the position. In the 5th round, I wanted to get better behind Colin Kaepernick, and I went with Nash Nance out of Hampton-Sydney, a Division III program. He set a ton of records in college, and here's a guy formerly of the University of Tennessee that plays a lot like Blake Bortles of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Although we'd like to believe that Phil Dawson can kick forever, he can't, so I went with the best kicker in this year's draft class, as Justin Manton out of UL Monroe had an excellent week of practice at the Senior Bowl. Gene Sifrin out of UMass at 6'6", 250 is an older prospect entering the draft class. He'll be 27 by the time the season starts, but he has a receiving skills, both route running and catching, that you look for at the position. Rounding out my 49ers mock draft, I went with Arthur Ray Jr., who played at Michigan State, battled cancer, transferred down to Fort Lewis, remained healthy, and here's a guy that can play tackle or guard, providing quality depth up front. So let's recap my 49ers mock draft, and as you can see, inside linebacker was a heavy emphasis in this draft with Eric Kendricks and Ben Heeney, 2 guys that I think very highly of. You look at Darius Davis, big-time playmaker coming out of a Division II program, and keep an eye on Nash Nance. Again, he may not go to the San Francisco 49ers, he may not even get drafted, but he's definitely one of the more underrated quarterback prospects in this year's draft class. And I also want to give a huge shout out to 49er fan forums for always showing football game plan support.